In 1977, Dr. James Dobson founded Focus on the Family in Colorado Springs, Colorado. The organization's mission statement is to cooperate with the Holy Spirit in sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ with as many people as possible by nurturing and defending the God-ordained institution of the family and promoting biblical truths worldwide. I will let Dr. Dobson let his own words tell you what that means.
Many adopted kids will grow up in homes with same-sex parents, lacking either masculine or feminine role models. They're among the saddest victims of this ruling.
And although Dr. Dobson was no longer with Focus on the Family at this time, I'm just going to leave something from their website. I've highlighted a few of the gems. Anyways, Focus on the Family started as a weekly 25-minute broadcast, and in 1980 went to a daily broadcast lasting 15 minutes, and in 1981 it began a 30-minute long daily broadcast. In 1987, Adventures in Odyssey, a Focus on the Family broadcast for children, started and continues to this day. In the 90s, Focus on the Family turned Adventures in Odyssey into an animated series on home video. 13 episodes were made. I watched a few of these as a kid and remember very little about them. I do remember one thing, but I'll talk about that when the time comes. I recently rewatched an episode of the video series that I had as a child. Unfortunately, I was having some VCR problems. I do own this on VHS. That's upside down. And just so you can see, that's actually what that is. The description is, Dylan has had some wild times in the Imagination Station before, but never one like this. Dylan and Jesse are on a smashing imaginary safari till a glitch in the computer program causes it to end prematurely. But when Dylan goes abroad to retrieve a forgotten backpack, he's catapulted into a series of bizarre events that would amaze even the inventor John Avery Whitaker. Will Dylan survive his enemy's relentless pursuit? Can anyone lead him out of this labyrinth? Gather the whole family for a rousing tale of faith, courage, and mystery. Based on Focus on the Family's popular Adventures in Odyssey radio program, this video is made in classic animation form. Each animation-packed story is loaded with excitement, suspense, and a timeless moral message for viewers of all ages. And before I continue, James Dobson did not actually have anything to do with this. In fact, the story was written by Phil Lawler and Robert Vernon. So, again, I did not record this on VHS for VCR problems, so I got this off Kiss Cartoon. Please forgive the logo in the top left. So we start with this bombastic theme on this stone-like background. Focus on the Family presents. And this music's kind of all suspenseful, jungly, which fits with the... I'll be honest, I don't know my central and southern native population, so... Mayan, maybe? I know Aztec had pyramids, but I don't know. Hey! Our fine feathered friend is a jolly toucan, and toucans sound better than one toucan can. I really wanted to work that into the last episode somewhere, but whatever. Anyways, Dylan and... I missed her name. I've already watched this 3 times before. Yes, 3 times. I don't remember what her name is. They're going down the river, and they start to hear a rumble. And they hear a rumble and see some mist. And Dylan here is kind of an idiot.
That's not fog. Sure is. What else could it be? Now! It's no good, Jess.
Jess. Her name is Jess.
If you open your eyes, you realize that this isn't just a straw.
And look how close he is to that waterfall, and he still doesn't know what it is. I mean, I've never been down a waterfall. I don't know if you could really see it coming up, but this kid seems quite dense. But both of the kids survive, of course, and they find each other through the fog.
Over here, Jess.
And to further prove my point that Dylan is an idiot, he thinks that's the canoe, despite the fact that it's all scaly. He's getting chased by the... It would be an alligator. That's what's native to the Americas. Alligator chases him, but it freezes mid-frame because... This is just a simulation inside of the Imagination Station. Now, the Imagination Station kind of makes me think that this guy is kind of like Dreamfinder in Journey into the Imagination. That's what it's called. It took me a minute there. But that's just because it's imagination. There can't be any further correlation. And, oh, this guy, Eugene. This is the only thing I actually remember about the show. This guy, I always thought, looked like a cross between IQ and Kid Vid in the BK Kids Club. Like, I can't be the only one, right? Something is wrong with the Imagination Station, so they have to shut it down.
I don't think the bug is in the program. The problem's got to be in the hardware somewhere.
Unfortunately, Dylan goes ahead and tries to retrieve his backpack from the Imagination Station, and Eugene turns it on.
Then here goes.
Thus throwing us into our story for today. Eugene's kind of an idiot, too. We start with a brief intro, which is one of those storybook intros. You know, kind of like the opening of Shrek. I worked Shrek in there. And... I don't know, Mr. Whitaker has a ice cream parlor. And, okay, those balloons, this guy is Dreamfinder. That is a fact. Wits End looks like Carson Mansion. So, we're now tied into Mystic Manor. Is Mr. Whitaker also apparently Henry Mystic? I mean, okay, I'm Disneyland geeking out here. Actually, Disney World, Hong Kong Disneyland, all that. We then go into the episode proper, and Dylan here is being woken up by Jimmy Olsen.
Well, it's me, Jimmy. Jimmy Barnes, your navigator. Like the Nazis are trying to make Swiss cheese out of us again.
Wait, the what?
Nazis?
Come on, we better get to our stations.
But, of course, Dylan doesn't seem worried because he's used to the Imagination Station. Okay. He's used to the Imagination Station, which, okay, fine, he's used to it. Why would he think Mr. Whitaker would throw him into an adventure with Nazis? Why is he cool with that? Just, what? And of course, Dylan, his emotion during this is...
What a relief.
When Dylan goes to the cockpit, we are introduced to Nagle, who will be our other main character during this episode. I'm gonna put my arm down.
Captain! Oh, thank God you're here.
What's our status, Lieutenant?
Nagle, sir.
But sir, there's a hole back there big enough to drive a truck through!
Oh, there's a hole back there. Yeah, that's why there is a huge pressure change. Unfortunately, it seems like because they were hit, they are going down. There seems to be something in the rudder, and the way to get through it is for both of them to yank on the steering wheels. They're both pulling up, about to crash, and then, fortunately, this happens? I'm not actually sure what caused them to be able to steer all of a sudden. I don't see what changed there. I mean, that thing fell off, yes, but what was it keeping? Dylan is excited and offers Nagle a high five, but apparently high fives haven't been invented yet. After this narrow escape, we are then introduced into We are then introduced to the enemy, Grimstadt.
And it's going to take a lot more than luck if we plan to safely get out of Grimstadt sector.
And he soon thereafter reaches them through the radio. So we are then introduced to this knockoff Jafar, but there's something I kind of did not expect in this. I mean, I thought they were kind of going to have to do with like how they did on the back here, where they look Nazi-esque, but they don't actually have swastikas on them. But here we are now.
Fire!
They have him all of a sudden. He throws a missile at the plane, which shuts off one of its engines, and Dylan decides to parachute out so that the others can escape. And again, look at this pressure change. It's so obvious, right? I mean, it's just so obvious that the doors have opened. That's why everything's being sucked down there. And there's that deafening roar. And Dylan here, he looks like he's having fun in his Nazi adventure. And while he's being parachuted down, he hears the voice of Mr. Whitaker.
This is a great adventure.
Unfortunately, his parachute tears, and he crashes into the snow below. When he comes to, we find him in a different outfit, tuxedo, and we see Nagle again. Again, like I said, the other main character. But now this has turned into a 007 parody.
Agent 014.
And I don't remember James Bond ever driving a Ferrari.
This is too cool.
Well, the car has a heat.
And despite the fact that it seems like no time has passed at all,
That's okay.
Dylan... It takes a minute for him to recognize Nagle.
You look awfully familiar.
I should. We were in World War II together, 014. But it's 1968. A lot of time has passed since then.
And despite being like 25 years later, at least, Nagle doesn't look a day older. And oh, that car flew there. It actually lifted up off the ground a little.
Now I remember. You're Lieutenant Nagle. Wow.
You are a dumb kid.
Like my body.
Unfortunately, the Soviets start shooting at Nagle and Dylan, but luckily the Ferrari here has a leapfrog option, which unfortunately can only be used once. At first I thought that was a little silly, but those jets actually probably take up a lot of fuel, probably have their own tanks, so that kind of makes sense actually. They find themselves coming up to a Soviet camp, and Dylan wants to jump it, but as I already stated, they can only leapfrog once. A bit unfortunate, but they decide that they're just going to ram it. Well, Nagle decides it. Dylan did not want to. Even though this is just the imagination? Eh. After ramming the vehicle blockade, they then lose power or they then lose control and flip their vehicle. Grimstadt comes back, this time being called Grimkov, and they then get... And when Dylan refuses Grimkov's proposals, they then get into a shootout. Luckily, they flip their car right by a manhole cover, leading them a path into the sewers. As Dylan is going down the manhole, a rocket is fired upon them, and he falls. But when he falls, he is in the vent shaft of a spaceship. And this part just kind of, for a moment, reminds me of the Nostromo. And gotta say, it's got a good atmosphere. I kind of wish this movie was... Or I kind of wish this was something other than what it was, because this could actually... They build the tension a little okay.
Mr. Whitaker? Mr. Whitaker? What is this?
But on the other side of the door is just Nagle again.
He's named this time.
And this time, instead of being Grimstadt or Grimkov, it is just Grim. At this point, Dylan starts to get a little sick of things.
That's it. Do you hear me, Mr. Whitaker? I've had enough.
Admiral, please.
You cut it out. Come on, Mr. Whitaker. I really want to come out now.
Oh, kid, this is focused on the family. You are not coming out.
Mr. Whitaker!
But at this point, Nagle tells Dylan that this is not the imagination station.
The imagination station. Mr. Whitaker can't get you home.
And once again, Dylan's an idiot. He can't see that glaringly obvious ship. Until it shows itself. Dylan and Nagle are then threatened by Grimm, who kind of looks like Sinestro here. Indigo Tribe Sinestro. And just like earlier, he is going after the child. Things are looking bad for Nagle and Dylan, as they do not have enough power, and they seem to be sitting ducks. So what happens? Do they just do like The Last Jedi, use an escape pod and then fly their ship into the enemy ship? Oh my god, that's actually what happened. Dylan has passed out again, and when he comes to, he finds that Nagle has become one with the Force.
Nagle!
It's at this point that Nagle informs us that Dylan is actually in a 3-day coma. Not the imagination station. When he went back for his backpack, he was thrown back from the ladder and entered a coma.
Yes, you fell, and you hit your head very hard. That's why it hurts so much. You've been unconscious for 3 days, Dylan. A coma.
A coma?
Have you ever heard of the Grim Reaper?
You mean... death?
That's him. But you never needed to worry. You have something greater and more powerful than he is. Faith in Jesus Christ.
But if Grim is dead...
We also find out that Nagle has been sent, and when Dylan asks who Nagle was sent by, we're answered with this.
By who?
Who do you think?
Wow.
And although the Nazi adventure, the 007 adventure, and the space adventure were all in Dylan's mind, we're actually supposed to believe that Nagle is not in his imagination. And also, what is a kid doing imagining Nazis? That just seems weird. And when Dylan comes to, I love this like initial shot. They kind of let his bandages take the shape of his hair. His dad's just watching over him, like kind of creepily almost.
I'm right here.
Who looks nothing like any of the other characters, I think. And seems not as excited about this as one would think.
Right out in the hall, of course.
Oh, and Mr. Whitaker is only thanking God because he doesn't have to deal with a wrongful death lawsuit. Dylan tells his dad that he has a story for them, and our episode ends.
Okay. But Dad,
Yes, son?
when I get better, if I got a story to tell you...
And seriously, this dad for some reason is creeping me out. But anyways, that was Adventures in Odyssey, Someone to Watch Over Me. Was it good? I'll probably never watch it again. Was it bad? No. I mean, it's not super... For a religious cartoon, it's not super religious. Yes, we do find out that Nagle is an angel or something, but other than that, there's not a lot there. The animation style is not great, but it's not bad either. I would say it's better than old school Rocky and Bullwinkle, which I just found out there's a new school Rocky and Bullwinkle, what the hell. But of course is nowhere as good as, say, Animaniacs. The music is actually pretty decent. The voice acting is very well done. And it did make me curious what was going to happen in this imagination. So yeah, it's not bad. I wouldn't say go out and watch it or anything. It's nothing that good. But it's not bad. It's weird. It's actually really weird. But my thought when I got done watching this is, I cannot wait to make this episode. It was just something about it that I just enjoyed. I hope you all enjoyed it too. And, thanks for watching, even if you didn't. Don't know why you would get this far if you didn't like it, but thanks anyway. I enjoy the watch time, so hey, thanks. There's a moth flying. A little one. Didn't get it. What was I saying? But thanks for watching, everyone. If you like this one, like, comment, subscribe, and take care. Remember that you are valid. I'll be back next time. Bye-bye.
Focus on the Family, which a 3-year-old one time called Poke Us in the Fanny. And, that's not far off from what we're trying to do in some ways.